Welcome back to Newsday. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the Nigerian Senate recently suspended one of its own for 3 months. That's Senator Abdul Ningi, who represents Bauchi Central District, following allegations he made about budget padding. Senator Ningi's allegations proved not far from the truth after some of his colleagues from both sides of the divide corroborated the fact that they had indeed received varying amounts of funds which were not effectively captured in the 2024 appropriation bill. Those revelations have perhaps given rise to a growing call for the nullification of Senator Ningi's suspension and the immediate restoration of his full rights as a duly elected senator of the Federal Republic. Well, Murtala Abubakar is president of Arewa Defense League, a northern youth group. He joins us now from the northwestern city of Kaduna to discuss this clamor. Good afternoon and welcome to Newsday.
Thank you very much for having me, and happy Salah to all of you.
Happy Salah to you too. Thank you. Now, let's just begin with the basics. What is the Arewa Defense League's specific interest in advocating for the reinstatement of Senator Ningi?
Well, we must understand that constitutional democracy is anchored on the rule of law. And the basic tenets of fair hearing, justice is fair hearing. So if in the first place you are somebody made an allegations, so the natural things to do is to investigate, and if you find that allegation not to be true, that have to go through a process, and that process, like in the parliamentary rules, so there need to be a committee that will investigate. Then the person in question should be put to go through disciplinary committee that will recommend the appropriate sanction. But in this case, the allegations was made, and there are a lot of groups, including budgets and even some of the senators, who came out to collaborate and give credence to what the senator has said. But because of hidden agenda and the conniver of the parties involved, they hurriedly suspended Senator Ningi. And to us, this is against natural justice. This is repugnant to rule of law. And then this is something that must not be acceptable. Remember, one thing that makes democracy unique is the parliament. And then this is where we have representatives of people from all over. So if a whole senator out of 3 from a state will be suspended for this long, you can imagine that the entire constituent he represents will not be, their aspirations, their concerns, and even their demands, there will be nobody there to put it forward for anybody to attend to. And in the life of a nation or people, 1 hour is enough if there is leadership vacuum. You can imagine what that can happen. So for you to say that you have suspended somebody for that amount period of time without fair hearing on a basis that many Nigerians felt it's unfair and unjust. So I think it's something that needs to be looked into as quickly as possible. And somebody coming from our own constituent, as a senator from the northern Nigeria, where we have a lot of problems that require concerted effort, every hands on deck, so that it can be holistically tackled. So to suspend a whole senator under the pretense of coming out to say what is obvious, we think it's injustice to entire people of the northern Nigeria.
In your last response, you had made mention to some connivance around the handling of this issue concerning Senator Ningi. Now, I'd like to take it a step further because in the response to how this issue was handled, there were also some senators, including the Senate President himself, who felt that this was a geopolitical battle and more so an agenda to impeach the Senate President. Why has this turned into a geopolitical battle between northern senators and southern senators, in your opinion?
Well, that is not true, because if you listen to the entire scenario, the people that introduced the regional dimension to this particular issue, the Senate leader, Opayomi, who was instead of him to address the issue, he went on to say that the northern senators or some tendencies who never wanted the Senate President to emerge are still battling to make his presidency unsuccessful. And he even went further to say that during the period when northerners are in the leadership or Senate presidency, the Senate cooperated and they had a successful tenure, that it was a design by northerners never to allow the Senate presidency from the south to succeed. But one thing about this narrative, which any reasonable person can understand, is that it cannot stand, because even when you say when you have the zoning formula such as the one currently going on, even if you remove Senator Akpabio today, another person will emerge from the south. So it's not somebody from the north that is coming to take his place. So from there you can understand that they are trying to whip up regional sentiment so that people will forget the real issue. So the unfortunate dimension that is introduced to this very important conversation came from the Senate leader, the senator I made reference to, and Senator Jimo Ibrahim. So when you listen to their conversation, it's very, very unparliamentarian. Then also to tell you that as far as northerners are not, northern senators are not seeing this thing as a regional issue, you can see they even refuse to side with their own, despite the fact that what he said, if investigation is carried out, it's nothing but the truth. But because of their own interests, selfish one, so they even went as far as allowing him to resign when they are supposed to come and support him and ensure that this kind of things that has become very problematic to budget process in Nigeria is bring to an end. So they choose to follow their selfish interests instead of national interest. So from us, I think we are trying very well to ensure that this thing is not allowed to take the dimension that those senators who want the truth to be swept under the carpet are trying to do. So that's why we are still bringing it to the national burner, so that this issue can be looked into and tackled. If you remember in the past, during President Umar Musa Adwa and then President Muhammadu Buhari, when this issue of pardon came up, all of them expressed reservations and they opposed to it. So we are still curious why President Tinubu, up to this point, has not come out to disassociate himself from this unpatriotic act that has continued to make budget unrealizable to the rest of the country. So that's why we are insisting that this thing must be looked into and the truth must be allowed to prevail, so that we can bring an end to this very dangerous practice that has made life of millions of Nigerians ungovernable. And this is also not to say, when you look at even the budget itself, you can see the budget is lopsided in favor of the South. And in most cases, you even see that the Senate President, where he comes from, the number of projects he pushed to his state when you compare with the budget of Northeast, despite the myriad of problems they are passing through, you see that his own far out, number that of the projects that are supposed to be implemented in those states. So these are things that should give every Nigeria a cause for concern, so that we can be nationalistic in our approach for fairness, for justice, and even equitable distribution of resources, which this Senate, from the way they are going, if allowed, will go to the disadvantage of many sections of Nigeria. And I'm making reference to the one that concerns the North now, because this is where we are representing. When you also go to Southeast, you can see similar situations everywhere.
All right, Mr. Abubakar. Senator Ningi has also been accused of making inflammatory statements and inciting violence. How does the Arewa Defense League reconcile its call for reinstatement with the potential consequences of such a rhetoric?
Well, I know we have a competent security arrangement in this country, like the State Department, the DSS. So if there's somebody who is making an inciting statement, they know what constitutes an incitement. So, and they know what to do. So it's not the Senate. And in any way, we are yet to see proof or facts or evidence to suggest that what Senator Ningi had said actually constitutes incitement. So these are he came up with facts to back his assertions. And we also have other organizations like budgets, with like another senator who also came out to confirm most of these things. So if Senator Ningi is accused of incitement, are you also saying that what budgets and the other reputable organization that came out to point out clearly with undisputable fact, are they also causing incitement? So this is just trying to blackmail him into silence and blackmail every other Nigerian who, out of patriotism, are coming out to say that this thing is not to the interest of this country.
All right. I remember during the Ramadan period, the president broke fast with some members of the Senate. And that engagement, he made reference to this issue, and he said that he checked the arithmetic, and in his view, the arithmetic of the budget is intact. And he went as far as saying that he is confident in the integrity of the Senate in the way this issue has been handled. Where do you think the discrepancies are happening in that, you have one party that's very confident, one group of people who are very confident that the arithmetic is intact. And then we have another school of thought that is saying, like you've said earlier, things are not adding up. This is mathematics. It's quite black and white. There's nothing subjective about it. Why are we unable to reach a consensus about a mathematical document, scientific document that should be able to be verifiable in any language?
You see, this is very clear, and you can begin to see that all those involved in this unpatriotic act, both from the executive and the legislature, they will do all that they can to cover it up. So if truly they are interested in digging out the fact and exposing the truth, so there are parliamentary ways and means by which this entire allegation can be proven. So that has not been allowed to happen. And then when also some people who are interested party, they will not actually come out to tell you the contrary opinion. But what is clear to all Nigerians, the question we should all ask ourselves is that why is it that our budget process is not working for the Nigerian people? So that this is to show you that things are not done, or what they told us that is what they are doing, is not actually what they are doing. And remember, even the budget presentation itself, there are a lot of allegations from senators that the box presented by the president was empty. There's nothing in it. And then nobody came out to, again, constitute investigation into that. So until we begin to see that when serious allegations such as this are made, and the Senate became clear and transparent in the manner they deal with those issues, that is when we are going to have confidence that they are telling us the truth. But until that, we continue and if things continue to happen or go the way it's being done, that year in, year out, there will be budget for so and so issues, and you will not see anything tangible on ground. And then why is it even that you have a lot of allocation, budget money that you budgeted, and there is no project line attached to those projects. So what will happen to the money at the end of the day? So what we know is that Nigerian politicians are actually playing with Nigerian people. So they feel the most important things to them is election and after election. So they are not interested or concerned about the dividends that they are supposed to, provide for the betterment of a greater number of our citizens. So realizing that money play critical role in the election every year. So every budget, they make provisions that will allow them to go away with huge amount of money, reserving them for an election. And this is what
Abubakar,
we see clearly happen. Otherwise, there's no way you can talk of a huge amount of money, about 3.7 billion, without any project in line. And then somebody will now tell you that those who are talking about
Abubakar,
it, they are not being consistent or are not saying the truth.
We certainly hear you. Now, some would say the suspension process followed established parliamentary procedures. Doesn't the Arewa Defense League's insistence on reinstatement appear to undermine the integrity of these processes? And some might even say that it might be setting a precedent for future disruptive behavior.
Yeah. Hello?
Can you hear me? Well, we appear to have lost Mr. Murtala Abubakar. If we can, we'll reconnect with him. But he is the president of the Arewa Defense League, a northern group that's advocating for the reinstatement of Senator Ningi.